0601 Part 1 Ratios. First thing we're going to do today is we're going to review. So I would like you to take a moment and write each of these fractions in simplest form and then find the quotient for 5 through 8. Remember finding the quotient means division. So pause the video and do these 8 problems, and then we'll go back and check and make sure that you understand what's going on. Okay, so for number 1, we're going to divide the top and the bottom by the same number, and that will give us 6/7. So for number 2, what did you divide by? You could divide by 2, but then you're going to have to keep going. So our best bet is to divide by 8 on the top and bottom, and that would give us 3/5. For number 3, I bet you didn't see this one, but you can actually simplify this by dividing by 17, which most people don't see, and that simplifies to 2/3. Number 4, divide the top and the bottom by 6, and you get 9/10. So for 5 through 8, we were supposed to divide. 120 divided by 3 is 40. 840 divided by 4, $4.75 divided by 5 is 95 cents. 840 divided by 4 is 210. $15.55 divided by 5 is $3.11. So that's our review. Basically, we're simplifying fractions, and our objective today is to compare ratios. So by the end of the lesson today, you should know how to set up ratios. A ratio is a comparison of two whole numbers in the same units, and they do need to be in the same units. So we have 12 inches to 1 yard. 4 possible ways to write a ratio is 4/9, 4:9, say it as 4/9, and sometimes you'll hear 4 out of 13. So all of those are different ways to say ratio. So would you write the ratio as a fraction in simplest form of 7th grade boys to 8th grade boys? Pause the video and see if you can set up a ratio. At least try it in your head. Okay, so what do we know? We got 40 7th grade boys. How many 8th grade boys are there? 45. Now we do need to put it in simplest form, so what goes into 40 that will go into 45? 5. So if we divide both of those by 5, we get 8/9. Number 10, would you try to set up the 7th grade girls to the 7th grade boys? Pause the video and try to set up a ratio for this. Okay, well, there's 34 girls. How many boys are there? Still 40. So we would say 34 over 40, or 34 out of 40. Divide both by 2, and we'll get 17/20. So that's our ratio in simplest form. Would you write 7th graders to 8th graders? Okay, so we have to find all the 7th graders, so that means we need to take the boys and the girls. So how would we combine those two together? Hopefully you added, and we'd get 74. Then for the 8th grade students, we've got 45 boys, 22 girls. Add those together and we get 67. I don't think there's anything that'll go into 74 to 67, so that's in simplest form. It's okay to leave it as an improper fraction when we're talking about ratios. So we would just leave that. So don't forget, improper fractions are okay for ratios. Would you write it for girls to all students? So how many girls are there? 34 7th grade girls, 22 8th grade girls. That's going to give me 56 girls altogether. Now if we're talking all students, we have to add all of that together, and that comes out to 141. So that would be our ratio, 56 girls to 141 students. Number 13, write 3 different ratios for this model. So can you come up with any ratios that we could write? And I know it's a little difficult, so I'm going to start you off with this one. We could say there's 3 squares to 4 circles, 3 squares to 7 shapes, or 4 circles to 7 shapes. Would you try to write 2 different ratios for this model? So what could you come up with? Try to think of some different things you could compare. You might say 3 shaded to 2 not shaded, or 3 shaded to 5 total would be some possibilities. You might have some different ones, and that's fine. Can you write 1 ratio for this model? One possibility, and there are more than 1 answer, so we have 4 not shaded to 6 total, which we could reduce to 2/3. Can you write this ratio as a fraction in simplest form? 23 to 24. Would you write this ratio as a fraction in simplest form? So start out with 32 over 40. What will go into 32? That will go into 40. You could divide both of those by 8, and we get 4/5. Write this ratio as a fraction in simplest form. 50 is to 60. Okay, so 50 over 60, divide both by 10, we get 5/6. 9 out of 21. Pause the video, write this as a fraction in simplest form. Start out with 9 over 21, divide both of them by 3, and we'll get 3/7. 6 out of 60. 6 on the top, 60 on the bottom. Divide both by 6. We get 1/10. And that's it for the lesson today. When you come into class, if you have any questions, let me know and we will go over it. Thank you.